So my question is, how to stop self-sabotage? Can you stop it? Can you actually stop it?
Of course you can.
Moira?
Of course you can. Because you can do anything. We can all do anything. So, in fact, you said that before we even pressed record here, is that, can you stop self-sabotage? Of course you can, but the thing is it's about understanding yourself. Understanding the thoughts, the patterns, the habits, the peccadillos, the quirks, and actually releasing, I'm all about the big letting go, releasing the things that don't serve or don't align with what your true intention or direction or path is.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Here we go. Another deliciously motivated mindset podcast / conversation.
Yeah.
With Debz, that would be me, and Moira,
that would be me.
That would be her with the accent.
Yes, I have an accent.
She does have an accent.
You don't have any.
No way. No, not even. I'm a New Zealander, and even when I talk in Australia, I do not have an accent. No, not at all. I think my nose just grew a couple of inches.
I know. We would just let you have your
fantasy
version of reality, which isn't really reality.
Which isn't a reality at all. Fancy that. That's not the only thing. That's not the only thing that's not reality. But today, oh my gosh, talk about accents. How to stop self-sabotage.
Well,
I think this is even the title makes me go, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. And the other part of the title goes, can you really stop it? Here we go, people. Welcome. So we're going to crack on, but one of the things we do, if you've been here before, you'll understand what we do, and if you haven't, you're going to find out very, very quickly.
And welcome.
So, yeah, and welcome. Yeah, that's it. One of the things we do is we check in with ourselves emotionally. Actually, hang on. We check in with ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, which is our PEMS.
And when
we say our check-in, we go from a check-in from a 0 to 10, a 0 being,
so calm and present and
if you haven't eaten for a long time and then you suddenly eat, and apart from overeating, you eat, and you just go, or you get into bed at night and you go, that's me, that's my, I go straight to it. As soon as I climb into that bed, I instantly go for straight 0. I'm like, that feels
there you go.
That's that 0. But then there's a 10, and that 10 is you get into bed and the little dog's been in there and he's had sand on his feet, and it's cold and it smells
and he smells and
he smells, bed smells, it's cold or it's hot, or I've actually never experienced that. I do have to say, as I say that, I go, that would be an 8.
It'd be more than a 10, wouldn't it? I think that would be more than 10. Well, it'd be more than a 10 for me because I don't have a dog.
You'll be going, where's this dog paws come from?
Exactly.
That would throw any. That's a good one. Well, you go to your bedroom, there's a lion in there. Okay, that would make you a 10. So a 10 is when you are literally, and Moira's favorite word, discombobulated.
Discombobulated. Yeah.
You just really screwed up.
Basically, yep.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And that is a 10. And there's nothing wrong with being a 10. And I've gone beyond the 10 sometimes, or someone said something to me and I've literally gone from a 3 to a 10.
Yep, me too.
Considering if I attack them now while I go to jail, then I go from a 10 to a 15 or an 18. For the logical brain goes, So the 10, and I have joked about the 10, but the 10 is a real, I'm going to say a dark place, a place where you just often don't know how to get out of.
Yeah.
And you may have all the tools to get out of it, but you just are left with, I don't know, and your mind is on a hamster wheel and there's no resolution to anything, and you can just feel yourself discombobulated.
Yeah.
So that is a 10. Now, there's nothing wrong with whatever number you're at. It's just a number. Remembering that it's just a number. So we check in with our number now, where we're sitting right now. Then we check in at halftime, and then we check in at the end. And our intention for our deliciously motivated mindset conversation is to move you closer to that 0.
Yes.
And hold you at that 0 as long as we can with that space. But knowing it can change at any time. So just knowing it's just a number. If you get to a 0, that's fabulous. If you don't get to a 0, it's also fabulous. If you go from a 3 and you go towards a 10, that's also fabulous, because it gives you can celebrate. It gives you something that you can actually you're going to work on. There's something clearly going on for you to look at that. So that's pretty much the number system of a PEMS: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. God, I think I drew that out. That's the longest I think I've ever described a PEMS, ever.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you don't know what a PEMS is, by God, you're not going to understand me all the way through with my accent. So grab a pen, grab paper, grab whatever your note-taking devices, and the very first note you're going to write down is the number that you are emotionally right now. So, Moira, what number are you?
I'm a 1.5.
Oh, okay.
What are you?
Okay. Well, I would say my overall is a 2.
Okay.
But I do have something that's just driving me insane, and that alone is an 8.
Oh.
But it flicks in and out. So I'm going to say I'm a 2, because that's where I feel comfortable being a 2. But I'll talk about this this thing that if I focus on it, it definitely takes me to an 8. But if I go to my whole overall being, I feel like I'm a 2.
Gotcha.
It's just that's burning and right in front of me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So we just write it down, and then we kick off halftime. You check in what your number is.
Halftime, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the very end.
We'll all check in at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So our topic today is how to stop self-sabotage. So we're going to be about another 30, 35 minutes, people. If you're listening to this in your car, don't take notes. I'll just say that. But apart from that, find a space, cracking on. How to stop. So my question is, how to stop self-sabotage? Can you stop it? Can you actually stop it?
Of course you can.
Moira?
Of course you can. Because you can do anything. We can all do anything. So, in fact, you said that before we even pressed record here, is that, can you stop self-sabotage? Of course you can, but the thing is it's about understanding yourself. Understanding the thoughts, the patterns, the habits, the peccadillos, the quirks, and actually releasing, I'm all about the big letting go, releasing the things that don't serve or don't align with what your true intention or direction or path is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about self-sabotage. To me, is it's a circuit that we've all done it. And it can sometimes be because we don't feel worthy of something, or we don't feel confident, or we have listened to somebody else's judgment or opinion of us. And so then we forget to come back into the guidance of our own heart-led decision-making process, right?
Yeah. What a way to kick this one off then. Because when I think about it, can you stop self-sabotage? Yes and no. So you'll never ever be able to, I don't believe you'll ever be able to stop it forever in your whole life, because self-sabotage will come up with different things. It might come up in a money situation, or it might come up in a relationship situation, but it's going to be different each time.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So you're never, I don't believe you're ever going to stop it, but you can see, so your mum might say something and it might trigger you and you go into self-sabotage, and then that's fine, and you've learned to stop it right there and then. But then 2 years down the track, somebody else might, or you might be in a money situation where you're saying no to that hourly rate, and so that could be seen as a self-sabotage, but it's a different self-sabotage scenario.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, but I
Here
think...
we go, but wait with
yes,
this. But yeah.
But, and so here is my first tip in here, is that in order to stop it, because to your point, you're right, we are going to keep dancing with it, we're going to keep experiencing it, we all do. We will deal with it in a specific situation, and then, you know, either let it go or decide that we're going to make a different choice, and then perhaps a year or so down the line you get triggered by something else and it comes back up. But the thing is to me, and maybe we should have retitled this is how to stop self-sabotaging actually derailing your best intention.
Ooh.
Right? And so that's why I'm saying is that the real, to me, it's that you commit to yourself that you will always tap back in and listen to your own inner guidance and really get in touch. Like, this is the hand on heart, get in touch with, okay, my crazy making inner chatter is trying to get me to, you know, think of all these other reasons why I can't do this. But I know I can do it. So it's not like the self-sabotaging dialogue is still there, but I still get to choose the best way, right? So
yeah,
this is what I'm saying is my first tip is to commit to listening to your inner guidance and come back to it. If you find yourself back in that cycle of self-sabotage or not believing in yourself, it's a flag, it's an indicator to say, oh, wait, I gotta come back and listen to my own insight, my intuition, my what's my heart saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is, because I mean I've just I did a 5-day training program, attended as a participant recently, and it was interesting saying to people, they were like, what's one of your greatest tools of success? You know, what's something you know, your secret sauce? And I said, make decisions in your heart.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of your head. And they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I just do. I just do. Which is funny because we were talking about that just before we came on here, about, you're like, what about, can I give you some advice, Deb? I was like, yeah, and you told me something, I was like, oh, I did that, but I overrode it. And
yes.
what happened? Yeah.
Oops, I went back into my head.
But it is that make, you know, so maybe that tip is how to stop self-sabotage, is make those, just exactly what you said, connecting to your inner guidance is, I'm going to reconfirm that in Deb's version, is make decisions in your heart.
Yeah.
Over your head, because your head can go, I must turn left, or I must turn right, or I must look straight ahead, or I must shut my eyes. But your heart knows if it's wise to turn left or right. So I guess that could be trust. You know, and that was my secret sauce to who I am, is I make those decisions in my heart now, and the ones when I do make them in my head, whoops.
Oopsie, they kind of go a wee bit off track.
Yeah, they definitely derail. But that would be my secret sauce to one of my successes, I would say. It's just that. And so, which is listen to your heart. You know, when Moira said commit to listening to your inner guidance, that's it. You know, choose your heart. So choose your heart over your head.
Absolutely. And I just made a wee note. So I'm actually putting this as a separate tip, is that I like that, and you're completely right. I often say that we do need to make decisions from our heart, but it's also to make sure that we're aligning what I like to think of as our own divine trinity, which is our head, heart, and higher self. So we get downloads and guidance and inspiration and whispers from our higher self, but only when we kind of go, okay, there's my head is going, do this, don't do that, get this done, sign up for that, don't sign up for that, spend this, don't do that. So that's all in head, but my heart might be just saying yes. And so when I come and just sit in with my heart is saying yes, might actually be completely bypassing what's going on in my head and getting some kind of little tap from my higher self to say, don't listen to any of that. Don't listen to any of that. Because that's that key piece, right? About just because you think it doesn't mean you have to listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that symbol. Just because you think it, you don't have to listen to it.
Or believe it.
Yeah. So you said head, heart, and what was the third one?
Higher self.
Higher self. Okay. Oh, the 3 H's.
Yes. You know me, I like my alliterations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in saying that, and when I talked about listening to your heart, and Moira just
trust, and you saying trusting it, because that's a tip on itself by it too.
Trust is massive. So if you didn't write trust for the last 2 tips, then write it now. Trust. That's it. That's another tip. That's another tip. But I tested a beauty product last night, and as I picked it up, I went, I promised them I'd get back to them and let them know, and I hadn't. So I felt like a bad person, my whole, oh God, I promised I'd get back to them. God, that's so bad. So I instantly put a little bit of drama into my head, some in my head. And as I squirted, I decided to test it not on my face. I decided to test it in the what do you call it? The elbow of your elbow, the arch of your,
or the inside of your elbow. That's the inside of your elbow.
There you go. Yeah, your elbow of your elbow. Okay, the inside. I decided to test it on the inside of my elbow.
Thank goodness. P.S.
Oh my gosh. And so I just tested a little bit there, carried on. 15 minutes later, I jumped on a Zoom call for 2 hours. And as I was on the Zoom call, and I was trying to be as present as I could with the person without looking down, I could see this thing getting redder and hotter. And my top, the dress I was wearing kept hitting right on that spot. So I had to sit back and hold my arm out straight. So I was already losing my presence with my lovely little client. I say little because she's so tiny. And it just got hotter and hotter and hotter. And as I actually look at it,
it is bright red. It is like
red raw.
Cherry red.
If I look at it, I am looking at
Oh, she's measuring it. She's even measuring it.
It's 12 centimeters wide. It's 12 wide and 14. I didn't even think I had that big an arm. It's 12 centimeters by shoot. That's even worse. And 13 the other way.
There you go.
So it's 12 by 13 centimeters. I am red raw and rashy, and I will say, bloody heck, it hurts.
That's the situation that's got her at an 8, by the way, listeners.
Yeah, so instantly, but I knew when I picked that product up, I'd already said to myself, oh, this is not a good idea. I already said that, and there was clearly why I hadn't tested it again for a long time, and I went, oh, got to do it. So I didn't sit in my head, I overrode the decision. 12 centimeters by 13 centimeters, shoot. That's not good. That's not good.
And yet this is the perfect example of jumping out of your heart's guidance, because your body knew that's just not a good thing to do. And went in your head and said, oh, but I should, because OC should.
Well, I promised them. I said, oh, I'll do that.
I'm sure if they found out that you've got this red rash, they would be mortified.
I know. Now I've got to take a photo of it and see. Well, I did take photos last night, but I was in agony last night. And my partner goes, we may have to take you to A&E. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. And she was literally like, no, I'm deadly serious, Debbie.
A&E is emergency for people in North America.
Oh yeah, that's us as well, because Yeah, had to go to the emergency part of the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, no, they're going to have to give you something. So we put antihistamine, like I took
Yeah,
pills
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
I slept with my arm out straight. 'Cause it's in that arch of the elbow that, you've been. But that is a perfect, it's perfect for you, perfect for me, not so good. That's a perfect example of where I self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I gifted my body to somebody.
It's because you gave the
And I
power
didn't-
away to something or someone else. Because it's like I gave them my word. Yeah, but it's that, you're paying this
But I
massive
knew-
price.
I knew the moment I put it on there, I went, oh. But I'd already, even when I went to pick it up, because clearly I was avoiding it, because I thought, oh, I don't, nah, this is not going to be work. But at the moment, I'm in absolute agony. But every so often, it just flares up and then it goes back down. So I might be at A&E later today. But that's a great example of being in that head and not trusting. And when I spoke to Moira, I said, how are you going? I said, look at this. And she went, oh, like Moira even took a breath away.
I did.
But with that, she says, can I give you, I think you said, can I give you some advice or something? And I was like, yes. And you said, what about using your body as a pendulum and asking if it's right for you? And I said, oh, I've ordered a pendulum, but they haven't bloody given it to me. This is me. I went onto the story because I heard the word pendulum. And it's been now a month and they haven't given me, blame everyone else. And you went, no, you just trust it. And I went, oh, but I did that. I literally, because I was moving so quickly yesterday, I went, I did that. I grabbed it and I knew it wasn't right for me and I did it anyway. And Moira just starts laughing. She's just laughing as if to say, Deborah, you've already done it, but without being consciously aware you're doing it.
Yeah.
So listen to your body doesn't lie, how to stop self-sabotage, and that is that trust. But I'm actually going to emphasize listen to your body. There's the trust part, but listen to your body, because your body gives you physical symptoms
Absolutely
that aren't in your head, that you can go, oh, what did I miss? So my tip is basically that whole story went, don't test products on the elbow. Imagine if I did on my face. Oh my
I know.
God.
Thank God. That was the other thing I said, is thank God you didn't try it on your face. Can you imagine? So here's this what you were just sharing. I think my next
Can you all feel sorry for me? Can everyone feel sorry for me? Because that's enough to
we'll
put everyone in.
We'll give some empathy.
Give me some love
and love.
Thanks.
To Deb with her bright red.
12 by 13. 12 by 13 centimeters is bloody big.
It is big. But so
back to your tip then.
Listening to what you're saying is, I think that's something that's really important, especially in a situation like you just described, is to give yourself permission to change your mind. Give yourself permission to change your mind. And here I have an example here, is that I agreed to do a course at I was to go to do this course and give feedback to the person who's developing it. And at the beginning, it was to be a 7-week course. And I looked at my calendar and yes, of course I can make it fit. It was two sessions per week. And the first week I was going to be away, but I said, okay, I can just watch the recording and catch up, and by all means, I'll give you feedback. Well, as the time went on, I got more and more things landed, and I actually clued into some of the deadlines that I had said, but I was kind of ignoring. So, I'll get to that. I can get that done. No problem. And so I had to realize I ended up falling way, way behind in the course. And so rather than beat myself up and sabotage and say, oh, I gave my word, I did. And I meant it when I gave it.
Yep.
But then I had to say, look, things have changed. The goalposts have changed. The amount of things that I've got on my plate has changed. There's more things has landed on my to-do list than was there when I originally made that commitment. So I had to say, and I wrote to her, it was like immediate. I was like, I have to let her know so that she doesn't feel like I'm, breaking my word, because I meant it when I said it, but I couldn't then get into a scenario like you're sitting there with, well, I said I was, so I'm going to. So that's why I'm saying, in order to manage and stop self-sabotage, give yourself permission to change your mind, and to also say, I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me now. I can
Yeah.
circle back. And even in my message to her, I said, I can work. I do still want to go through the content. And when I do, I will give her feedback. I gave her a little quick feedback of some of the content that I had, and that's it. Because the thing is that in why I'm saying that is it's of prime importance to put you at the top of your priority list, your care, we talked about the PEMS check-in, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being. And I do that with all of my clients and students is regardless of where you are, I'm going to ask you, where are you? Where are you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? And it changes and moves, and it's okay for you to say, oh, I have all this energy, and then give it half an hour and come back in and check. And maybe I don't have that same amount of energy, right? So really important to honor and respect and value. These are all components that will allow you to trust your inner guidance, right?
Well, I think like you, even though you said give yourself permission to change your mind, which is a vital tip, I do believe put yourself first is another vital tip. That's not even a B on those two ones there, because if you don't put yourself first, how can you help someone else if you can't help yourself? Or
absolutely.
I was talking to a beautiful soul yesterday, and I said to her, the reason you haven't got ahead in life is because you give everyone your last breath. You give everyone that last drink of water. You give everyone that last dollar. And she said, yeah, but they're beyond me. And then I had to giggle because she says, you used to do that to me. And I said, yeah. I was like, oh no, here we go. And she says, but I read your post about your car accident, which I had a car accident recently. And she says, at that moment, I knew I wanted to reconnect with you because I saw that and went, oh, she's now choosing me, which is me, not her.
Yeah, and that's what you did with that. That was such a beautiful example of that.
And I didn't even think about that. And of course, then we actually both birthed, and I hadn't realized how valuable doing that. And so what happened is I had a car accident, and I was on a motorway, and there was 3 cars involved. The other 2 cars were written off, and my car had the most minimal damage. But when the car accident happened, I chose to not get out of the car. I just chose to ring the emergency service and stay in the car, check on my breathing, see if I was okay. And I could see people moving around and people yelling at each other and people filming stuff. And I just chose to sit there, and I called our emergency services, and the lady goes, oh, how's everyone else? I said, I don't know. She said, what do you mean you don't know? And I said, I'm just sitting in my car. And she probably thought, what? So I'm just sitting in my car. I said, I can see them. There's people yelling. There's people filming. I said, there's no punch ups yet, but they're definitely yelling, and because they're in my rear vision mirror. And she was like, and you're sitting in your car? Like, I think she actually really got the whole. And she said, are you hurt? And I went, no, I'm just protecting my energy.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that till I spoke to that beautiful soul yesterday. I knew I go back to that, and I didn't even know how I got through what I got through after seeing everything that had happened and the ambulances come and all the rest of it. But that was a prime example of putting myself first. And like the greater powers of be, or whatever you want to call it, really protected me. And that was more of a significant point of that turning in my life than I had ever known until she spoke about it yesterday. And I went, oh, wow. Because people know I'm one who goes, are you okay? Can I help you? Jump out. I'll be the one ringing the emergency. I'll be one checking on people physically, and if I don't even have experience in that, I'm right there, hands on. And it really gave me a non-textbook learning of putting myself first. And I came out of that going, wow. And then I had to drive 2 hours after that.
Yeah.
And even the emergency services were like.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
We think you might be in shock because your heart rate is down and they were really concerned about it. It was like, no, I actually feel okay. And I could check in and I could educate poor emergency service, educated them on gratitude. Like, I'm grateful for what happened right now. So I educated them on who I was and what I did. And it really made me go, yeah, you do actually have something. So there must be a little element of doubt. But that's a prime example of putting yourself first. And even though other people said, oh no, we might need to take you to hospital because you might be in slow deteriorating shock, or I don't even know if there's such a thing, slow deteriorating shock. I was like, no, I feel all right. But it's just a prime example of putting myself first and not having to fix anyone else. I just went, they're in their own lane.
Yes, but it's also about trusting that you would make the right choices. That's what I feel in what you're describing there too, is that because you sat and you dropped into your heart.
I did.
For right now, I just need to focus on my breathing and focus on, definitely witness, but you don't have to get into the other stories and the anger and
energy
the
bubbles.
Their
energy bubbles were insane.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that's people do react and of course it's because they're scared, but because you owned your reaction, then you did the other to the 2-hour drive and you were fine. Right?
Yeah, I did. And it was only when people kept saying to me, are you okay? Like, you've just had and they had emergency services there and people were in ambulances and they had fire trucks. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I kept listening to people going, why are they being such a big drama? Why are they doing such a big, like, yeah, I'm okay. And when I was typing out my social media post, I was like, wow, actually, that's quite big. And I sort of downplayed it a little bit because I just went, oh, I'm just going to do this. I didn't consciously make myself, I'm going to do this differently. But I think one of the tips I'd like to share is gratitude. And I wouldn't normally share that one at the end, if I remember. But gratitude that you've got a scenario in front of you to experience, not textbook, but actually in your heart and your head, to experience that you've got something to celebrate, that you can work through it. Because all these things are for you to work through and evolve. But gratitude that somebody's done something to you, gratitude that somebody hasn't done something to you, gratitude that you've done something, gratitude that you haven't prioritized your time and now this has happened, or you're repeating the same, like gratitude that you have something in front of you to work through and will do when you're ready.
Absolutely.
When you're ready.
Absolutely. When you're ready now. My tip that kind of leads on, and I'm actually going to share a car accident story as well on this one.
Oh.
But
I mentioned it, I have to say, and I mentioned at the start, don't listen to this when you're doing your car. And I've never said that. So of course we're going to talk about car accidents.
I know. See, you set us up for this.
Yeah, that's it.
So this tip is about allowing yourself, particularly when you're into this self-sabotage or there's sabotagey type of patterns going on for you, is to be the observed and the observer, to learn the wisdom in what you experience. So the story of my car accident, this is a long time ago, but I was the passenger in this car. We went off the road, it was in the wintertime, and actually flipped over and ended up hanging upside down.
Oh, wow.
And so the person that was the driver was kind of got out and didn't really pay attention to the fact that I was stuck. My seatbelt stuck. I couldn't get it undone. And so I'm hanging out. And so it was actually, it happened to me. It happened in real slow motion because we were on the way in to a job that I was doing. I was going to work and he was going to drop me off. So when I finally did get the seatbelt so then now I'm on the roof of the car, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to get my purse, and I had an apple for my snack, and I had shoes that I was going to wear because I had my winter boots on, and I just calmly collected all my stuff off. And then somebody, a passerby who had stopped to help us, stuck his head in. Oh my God, you're still in here, and he helped me out. Anyways, all that to be said, I actually
did you get your apple?
I did get my apple. I did get my
Okay.
shoes and my purse. And
Yeah.
I actually did go to work that day. And so then I saw somebody, I think it was like the following day, I saw somebody, and it was a customer and his child looking at the little local newspaper, and they had a picture of the car upside down.
Oh.
And
Okay.
and the little kid was really upset. Oh my God, Daddy, are the people okay? And Dad sort of saying, I hope so. And I looked over and I said, yes, they are. I was the one that got out.
Oh, got my little goosies there.
But why I'm saying this in this tip of the observed and the observer, I remember observing me thinking, there's a lot of people that would be freaked out right now. I did have a really big bad goose egg lump on the back of my head. But just that it was that way, the slow, peaceful, well, isn't this interesting? This is just another experience. And here I am. The car was a write-off, actually. But
wow.
But that's why I'm saying is observe, and then that helps you to learn the wisdom of every experience is for you, even those kind, right?
Well, I was going to tag onto that and literally say, no two scenarios are the same.
Of course.
So I'm going to say no two scenarios are the same. But I want to take that back to Moira. How beautiful that you got to share with that young boy.
I know.
That's another gift on its own.
Not only did it truly was.
Yeah, because that young boy, like now that who I think everybody survived crashes, brought him up for a fantasy, Moira. But actually at that moment, and for the dad to say that, like how amazing, and no two scenarios are the same. So how Moira reacted in that scenario could be different to how she reacts in the other one, or another one. But I also want to tag another tip onto that is watch other people's energy.
Yes, and that was so important in your example.
Yeah, because that's the stuff. If I'd got out of the car and gone into, and it would have been a quick high adrenaline panic, are you okay, are you okay? If I got out of the car, I wouldn't be able to be aware of myself. I would have literally jumped into their energy bubble.
Yeah.
And I think with that, the guy or the person who was driving Moira's car, Moira could get really angry with him because he didn't even bother to worry about her. And then the other guy went into panic, like, oh my God, you're still in the car. So just be aware of other people's energy, that they don't filter into your experience. They're going to filter in. I don't know how to say it. They're going to filter in, but you can choose what you're going to let them to filter into.
Precisely, because it's always remembering that you're the boss of your own energy bubble.
Yeah, right? Totally.
You don't need to bring in other people's energies. Very, very important.
Well, they have their spin. And their spin can take you completely. Their spin goes into your head, not your heart.
Yes, 100%. But that's the thing about stopping self-sabotage also is, and what you just said about the watching other people's energy is because sometimes self-sabotage isn't even yours. It's a belief or a mindset that you inherited, and you just kind of went, oh, I can't do this because, and then maybe it's a tape playing that somebody said that to you when you were 6 years old of, oh, you can't ever do that, right?
Yeah.
And then you play it out. So,
and I remember my partner, when I got with my partner, and one of the things she says, oh, you've met the queen of procrastination. And I was like, I don't think so. Well, my literally was like, I don't think so. And when we chose to meet up, she just booked her flights, done. Like I said, well, I think she actually said, well, should we meet in person? I was like, yeah, done. And she just literally, and I was like, you're not the queen of procrastination.
Well, so where she should just give herself a label that's not even hers.
I know, and it's been a beautiful unfolding, because every time she said, not the first time you met me. And so I say, when you're procrastinating, you're doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So clearly she wanted to meet me, but that's a no, thanks, Deborah. But that's a nice thing there, just to actually go, if you're procrastinating, it's not something you want, that's inspired you enough, but it's other people's stories.
Yes. Yeah.
It's other people's stories that come in, filter, and they're the ones that can take you from that 0 to the 10.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to get into wrapping these up, but one thing that I like to point out about procrastination is I believe that when we procrastinate, there's two things potentially going on. One is perhaps, like you just said, you're doing things that you don't want to do. But the other is maybe your inner wisdom that you might not have been paying attention to says, this isn't for you to do. That something bigger, better is right around the corner, or somebody else is going to do it for you and you haven't quite connected those dots, or they haven't arrived yet. But it's not to beat yourself up. So, because I hear people doing that, and that's actually a form of self-sabotage too. It's, I'm a terrible procrastinator. Well, sometimes you are putting things off, but maybe it's because it's the right thing.
I had to laugh because as she started talking, I wrote down, be honest with yourself.
Yes.
How to stop self-sabotage, be honest with yourself. And then Moira explained a story, which is exactly that. Be honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a really good conversation. It's been quite different to our previous.
Very different. A lot of stories today.
Lots of stories. Bouncing off each other there.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, if you hadn't been taking notes, and if you can, this is the time to grab your note-taking device, because we will run back through and just do a wee quick recap on the points that we shared today. So, kicking us off, the first one we talked about was to commit to yourself to listen to your inner guidance, right? Self-sabotage patterns generally come from your head, listening to your head. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I said I was going to do it, so I better do it. Rather than, so it's just to commit to yourself instead of that ruminating, gotta, has to, that's a signal to say, yes, no shoulds here. So hand on your heart and listen to your inner guidance, to your heart. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, just how simple. Commit to listening to your inner guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. I can do that.
Well, yeah.
I do that. I do walk my talk in this.
Yeah. Well, even just saying that, commit to your listening to your inner guidance. Like if you can do that during the day, night. Yeah. And this is a great tip. Thank you. The next one I had was listen to your heart, which is similar. Excuse me. Choose your there's a bit of a yawn. Choose your heart over your head. And one of the things I brought up actually was trust. Yeah. And trust is really a tip on its own. Trust is actually a whole podcast on its own.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we need to do some
or do some
research
digging around on trust. Yeah, on a title for trust, because we know what we're going to talk about.
Yes,
but maybe we'll do a whole lot of stories where we've trusted and where we haven't trusted. Oh, would you like that, listeners? Would you like stories of where we've trusted things and they've gone our way, or they've gone the opposite way?
Wonky.
Wobbly. Yeah, that's the one that we've had to tweak. So listen to your heart and choose your heart over your head. And I experienced that, and I was talking to saying that's my secret sauce to my success now is actually choosing in my heart. But the next one is trust. So the next tip we're going to say is actually trust in yourself, trust in others, trust in the bigger picture.
Yeah. And just as a wee sidebar to that, the trusting and the listen to your heart, not your head, I mentioned the head, heart, and higher self, because you really want that trio to be, that's really committing to your listening to all aspects of you.
I had that as a separate tip because that's important. So I'm just going to put that down as a separate tip, because Moira also said, just because you think it,
That's
you
right.
don't have to believe it.
You don't have to believe it. Absolutely. And you don't have to
So-
listen to it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to
No.
listen to it.
No.
No.
And if you don't listen to it, you'll have an ulchi that's 12 centimeters by 13 centimeters. Okay, just
Yes.
letting everybody know if you
Yes.
don't listen. If you don't listen
If
to
you
it, if
don't
you decide
listen
to override your own trust.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, of course, I had to giggle. What's the next topic? What's the next tip? Listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Absolutely. Listen to your body, because it knows. It knows. The next tip I have was the one I had said that, and it was based on listening to yours shoulds. Well, I gave my word, was to give yourself permission to change your mind. Just because you said, absolutely, I can take that on, or I'll get that done, or I'll get back to you. And then, getting closer to the time when it's the deadline and you think, oh my gosh, I don't have the resource or the bandwidth, then you got to own that.
Yeah.
Because something may go wobbly for you if you just push through, right? Because you have to put yourself at the top of your priority list. We talked about that already too. Oh, that was the next one.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing in that is, the next tip was put yourself first. I think the thing when I think about that is, if I ask somebody to do a job and they did the job, and I was like, just get the job done by this time, 5 o'clock, whatever. And it was literally the last job they ever did, because then I'm going to go the worst case scenario, died of burnout. Okay. But, or something, that's the last thing they do. I would feel like poo. Because you did that, and they were like, yeah, she worked hours or he worked hours and nights to get that job done for you. I'd be like, why aren't they saying something? Why don't they say this is not for me? Don't do that. I would feel like I'd feel stink.
Yep, of course.
Great wording, Deborah. I would feel stink about that. But the truth is, we don't want people to die on our watch. We don't,
or to be put at detriment to any degree.
Burnout.
Any kind of burnout or detrimental effect.
Absolutely the self-sabotage. So, listen to your body, give you permission to change your mind, and put yourself first. Even though I've asked you to do something, you can still say no.
Yeah.
I might not be happy with you, just saying. I probably won't. But that's my stuff to deal with. But you must put yourself first in all scenarios. And
because to your point, we don't ever want somebody doing something for us at the detriment of their own well-being.
No.
That is so not okay. In my book too.
Not.
In my book, so totally not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I liked how all three of those tips just beautifully fit together. Beautiful. Yeah. The next tip we have here is Deb's favorite word, gratitude. I always like to say appreciation in there too. Gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude and appreciation, even if it's a discombobulating experience, there's always something to be grateful for. It's like, I get to experience, I get to learn something, I gain some wisdom, I gain some insight. So it's about just really melting into that one, right?
I get to reach out to Moira and Debz.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I celebrate not all the time. When something poo happens to me. God, a lot of poo talk today.
Must be that arm of yours.
Yeah, it's burning as I'm talking. When something emotional, downhill spiraling happens to me, I don't go, oh yay, let's celebrate. I go, and I go on a little rant in my own head, for a little bit of time, and then I go, okay, come on, it's time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. You've actually got something to work on, because you did say yesterday, I've got nothing goody to deal with right now, or I'm a little bit lax in my business. I know. So yeah, watch your words. But celebrate that. Celebrate you've got something to work on, because that's important. But there's always, what do they say? Silver lining? So what does that say?
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah. Is silver a good thing? I'd like to think platinum.
Okay. Well, you can think platinum. Every cloud has a platinum lining. I'm
all for platinum.
I like silver myself.
That's sort of like silver. Yeah, I'm a gold, but platinum, I just got one level up. Okay, all right. My turn. The next tip is, this is when Moira talked about her car accident, and I didn't laugh for some time.
I know she didn't. Well, a little bit.
She tells me how she falls down the stairs, and I literally have a giggle. But she did talk about the car accident, and I didn't laugh until a few scenarios on when she started explaining it. So her scenario was wisdom and what we experience, and she talked about the observer and the observe. Observe it and the observer, and looking at that scenario. And I think that's a real beautiful one. The wisdom is in what you experience.
Absolutely. And you are still the boss of what it's impacting you, right?
Yeah, well, maybe gratitude comes after that. These are in no particular order, by the way, when I think about it. But once you observed it, and you are the observer. Yeah. Once that is where gratitude comes in, because you can see the beauty in it. Yes. Because you're taking yourself emotionally away from it, going, "Oh wow,
yeah, wow, look at the gift, or look at that. I can celebrate that part."
Yeah,
right?
Look, I got through that.
Or I got through that. Yeah,
I got through
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that one.
Me too. The next one was where you had said that no two scenarios are the same. And that's when we were talking about watch other people's energies. We don't, because we can't. Have you ever heard that? Sometimes people say, "Oh, every time this happens, this is how it's going to go." Every time. It's like, no two scenarios.
Always happens to me this way.
Yeah.
Nope.
No two things. There is no always in here. But watch other people's energy, because you don't want that crazy making discombobulation, panicky, oh my God, in your space. If you're feeling delicate and you need to just go, okay, wait, I need to just sit here and put my hands on my heart and just be in my own little energy bubble while I recalibrate even and come back into, because when we take on other people's energies, we can be very prone to self-sabotaging and forget that we got to be at the top of the priority there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we ended up ending it on another one, and we talked a little bit about procrastination, and I said it's about doing things you don't want, and Moira added in it's our inner wisdom that guides us to, is this for us, is it not for us? Which actually she has my little favorite saying, and when you're looking to do something, is it good for me? Is it good for others? And do I want to do it?
And if all three have to be yes.
I know, but even if there's a maybe, it's a no. That's
right.
It.
That's right.
And so the tip, we were just the 4-worded tip to end on this, how to stop self-sabotage. But I can tell you what, there's probably a whole new podcast we could do on this, another level 2 and 3 and 4, is be honest with yourself.
Absolutely. And come and with some self-reflection, like you might need to sit and journal. You might need to talk to me or Deb to really get clear on what is yours and what have you inherited or taken on.
Yeah.
Because about being honest to yourself is a really, really powerful. Actually, that should have been tip number 1.
Yeah. Well, you are a worthy being. You are a worthy being, and I don't care what you've done or not done. You're here to do something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent tips. I really, really like the vibe of this. How to stop self-sabotage and see it is possible. But you see, it's possible, but it's always to know that you're a work in progress, that you are worthy of your complete compassion for yourself, and it's not going to be a once it's done, I've cured it and now it's done. No, you'll get triggered some other time, but you always know that you are the boss of you.
Yeah, you're ever evolving.
Yes, we all are. Yeah. That's the whole game of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So all that being said, dear listeners, we did our PEMS check-in. We gave ourselves a number at the very beginning. So now, and I trust you had a wee check-in at the half point, and now we're all going to check back in and see where we are. Deb, you were at a 2 overall, but an 8 on this arm situation that you shared with us.
I will say my arm is settled down right now, but it has been clearing out. So I'd say my arm's probably a 3.
Nice.
My awareness of my arm is a bit of a giggle, because I'm like, wow, I can't believe I went against my body. There's a lot of internal chatter with that. But I am saying I'm going to say I'm a 0, because I feel complete. I
Good.
feel complete. I feel
Excellent.
in my heart. Yeah.
Excellent.
Which
Yep.
is today's a different zero than my previous zeros,
Mhm.
but I do feel there's a zero.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. I'm a 0. You know, at the beginning, I put out myself at 1.5 because I actually had a scratchy throat as we kind of went into this, and it's completely gone. So I feel like that maybe it was just something that I wanted. My intuition was saying, you got to make sure you bring this in. So I guess I did it.
And I'll say,
So I'm happy to say that.
I think I have a scratchy throat now. Yeah.
So, dear listeners, we would love to hear your thoughts about self-sabotage. We'd also love to hear what was your favorite tip here. And we'd also really encourage you that if you get into a crazy making loop of self-sabotage or procrastination, reach out. You reach out for help. If it starts getting the listening to your intuition or managing the discombobulation, get help. Reach out. We are here for you, and this is what we do. This is us following our own life's calling, is releasing and letting go of self-sabotage. And so we would love to hear from you. And so your next step, so you're going to record your number. We'd love to know what number were you at the beginning and where are you now? And also make sure you reach out if you need some help overcoming self-sabotage. But also share this conversation. Share this conversation with people that you think it's going to help or uplift or inspire. The more people get involved in these types of conversations, the more peace we actually generate for the collective. And I think that's a really important part too.
Yeah.
So I loved this conversation. I'm very grateful for the internet and for our
I know, no jumping right now.
Yes. So thank you, dear listeners. Thank you, dear Deb. We will be back with you again next week. Thank you. Much love. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.